Welcome to Real Talk Christian Podcast, where we drink coffee and have real conversations on faith, culture, and society. This is Mark Hyde.
And Chris Fuller.
And on today's episode of Real Talk Christian, we are actually bringing you a bonus episode. We are going to be talking about the coronavirus, or known as COVID-19, and how we as Christians should respond to the fear and panic that it has caused. Fuller, you ready?
Let's go.
Fuller.
What's going on, Mark?
Dude, I can't see your face.
This is
Where
so
are
weird.
you?
We're both at our houses right now, and we decided, hey, what was this? Yesterday, we were like, we need to do a bonus episode because of all the panic surrounding this pandemic.
Well, we had to, dude. It's like schools are shutting down, churches are shutting down. I mean,
Right.
I think the United States just shut down. Like,
Yeah, I
everyone's
mean,
like, we're just done.
they canceled the NBA. There's like no spring training for baseball. They're canceling opening day.
I mean,
There's
they
just,
canceled soccer across the world. I mean, I just got an
Right.
email saying that Elliot's little preschool is going to be canceled for the next, like,
Piper's dance
weeks.
class on Saturdays have been canceled. It's a little out there right now. It's something we've never seen before.
no. It's funny, though, because I think of all the stuff that we lived through, like with mad cow disease and swine flu, but we didn't respond to it like this, or maybe I was just too young to remember. But I don't remember there being this much fear coming out of it.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I do have a question for you, though, Fuller.
All right, what's up?
You guys got enough toilet paper?
We've got enough to last us. We're not those people that went out and bought everything up, and I mean, we're still living life as though it's normal, but taking some precautions.
Like, I had to walk through Target, and I saw some people looking at me because I had a roll of toilet, not a roll, but I had like some toilet paper under my arm. And I'm like, I'm not doomsday prepping. I'm just out. Like,
Right? Yeah, it's grocery shopping
I'm
day.
just
Sorry,
out.
people.
Like, I actually need a gallon of milk. Like, I'm not doomsday prepping. But
Right.
I was seeing so many pictures of Target and Kroger and Meijer and the lines that are just ridiculous. And what makes it all funnier,
Funner?
more
What makes it
humorous
funner?
is like I see all these memes and posts where it's like, all right, so we know that you bought 12 bottles of soap, but this works better if we all have a bottle of soap. You
Right,
don't need 12
exactly.
bottles of soap. So people are just going absolutely nuts, and it's cracking. I mean, I don't want to say it's crack. It's not cracking me up, but I guess like I'm a very easy go with the flow type guy. I don't go into panic mode pretty quick. It's very hard for me to do that. But it's more just like, what?
It cracks me up because I saw a meme and it's like, oh, for all you people that bought up all the toilet paper, don't you judge me when I'm in your front lawn scooting my butt across your grass.
Oh, dude, I've seen so many memes where it's like you can use the garage towels. I saw one person was like, Home Depot selling these by the rolls, and it's like rolls of insulation. And I'm just like, this is not okay. Or my favorite one so far is, TP got you down? How about some sham? Wow. And I'm like, oh, no.
Have you seen the one where it's like grandma's knitting's coming in handy and then she like knitted a roll of toilet paper?
I mean, let's be honest. For all the crunchy moms out there, they were like, we have prepared for this. We don't throw
Our day has
we
come.
we have no waste. Like, we are ready. And all the homeschoolers are like, yo, you like us now. Like,
Yeah, welcome.
It's like Oprah. You get to homeschool. Everybody gets to homeschool. But oh
man.
goodness. But have you just kind of segueing a little bit, kind of going into the conversation?
Wait.
Well,
Are you drinking coffee tonight? I can't see you.
Well,
so.
it took you like 25 minutes to for your computer to catch up. Not you. It wasn't you.
Man,
it was
I
your
know.
computer. So I already finished my Tim Hortons.
Did you? I'm sitting here drinking some RTC high-grown Mexican still, so it's delicious.
I need to go to bed tonight because I'm playing on the worship team tomorrow. So your boys got to get up early.
You playing bass?
I am. I'm slapping the bass with no church coffee. I had to post. Did you see I had to post that earlier?
I did, and I saw Jason LaCava's response to it. It was hilarious.
It's BYOC, bring your own caffeine. So it's just, that's the nature of the beast. Like, I'm actually curious if anyone's even going to show up to church tomorrow. But it's okay. We're playing to an audience of one.
Well,
And God's in our
we
midst.
had already contacted you and Scott about we're not going to be there for the next few weeks because of small kids. Even though they say they can't get it, we don't want to risk it. So,
well, it's not worth it, you know?
For us, we're just trying to stay out of big crowds right now. That's the only thing that's really changed about our life, other than everything that's gotten canceled that we normally do. That, I mean, that's not our call. So
Yeah, I took advantage of the time, and I'm like, actually, I finished painting the hallway and all the little nooks and crannies in the house. I'll be putting some trim up after this, and tomorrow we don't
nice.
have youth groups, so I will hopefully be starting to
Wait, time out. Hold on. So
what?
there's no Sunday school,
Nope,
no connect groups in the morning. So you
nope.
don't have to be there until like what, 9 o'clock now?
Yeah, instead of 8, it's 9 o'clock now.
So 9 o'clock, and then you're done by like we're usually done by like noon,
Yep,
and then you have nothing for the rest of the day.
yep.
Wow, that's nice.
So I will be demoing my bathroom. Yay! So no, but
Cool.
what I was gonna ask though was thinking of kids and all these responses. Like our small group, I think we're gonna cancel for the next little bit.
Right.
And church and school and all these different things. Have you talked with all? Have you talked at all with Piper about why dance is canceled and all these different things, or is it more of just since she's so young, it's just like, sorry, babe, dance is canceled.
Yeah, she's so young. I don't think she would understand. I mean, she might understand. I mean, we've talked about how people are getting owls. That's why we're not doing certain things. But I don't think she fully grasps, the whole situation
Yeah, and I haven't.
of like the whole world is shut down right now.
Right, yeah. And Elliot's in Florida right now, so he's hanging out there with Nana and Papa. So he was there all this past week. So
Yeah.
I'll probably talk with him a little bit just to see if he knows anything or help explain why, and not to cause fear and panic and terror, but I'm processing
No,
this
no.
where it's like, how do I explain to a 4.5-year-old where there's a virus that's going around. We can't stop it. We're just trying to slow the curve so that way it doesn't
Right.
affect mass millions. Like it's like how you
Yeah.
explain that to a little kid. And but more than that, how can we as Christians explain that to the world?
Right.
And
Well,
that's kind of the conversation
let's
for tonight.
let's dive further into this conversation. I think, Mark. It's we're not trying to make this a full length episode. Although knowing us, we probably will. We'll probably have it like an hour and a half
No,
long.
no, we're
knowing
gonna
us,
keep it
so.
under 25, bro. We can do this.
Whoa, dude, we're already almost at 10.
No, we're at 7:37. So
7:58 is what it says on mine.
Whatever. So, but let's talk about
Anyways,
COVID-19 real quick.
yeah, let's jump into what is COVID, what is COVID-19, and what's the purpose of it, or what's not the purpose, because we know what the purpose is of it, but like why are we in such a panic right now? So COVID-19, aka the coronavirus, is basically it's a strand of flu. Uh, I've got a few stats. Of course, you're the stat guy, so I have
Yep,
to
I
throw a
love
few
stats,
stats
bro.
your way.
Not these
But
ones,
I,
but
but all right, I want to precurse of the stats that I just got these stats this morning at 9 a.m. Okay, so I'm sure a lot has changed since 9 a.m. with how contagious this virus is. But I just wanted to set that pretext for our listeners that um, you may be hearing this now, but things maybe have changed drastically by the time you listen to this. So this was obviously March 14th, 2020 at 9 a.m. And there have been a total of 149,162 cases of people who have contracted the COVID-19 virus. There's been 5,551 deaths. 73,709 people have recovered from the COVID-19 virus. There are still 69,902 active cases. 79,260 cases have been closed. So 92% of the population, the people that get this virus, have had mild symptoms, nothing severe. 8% of those people, or 8% of the people left, obviously, have had critical or life-threatening symptoms. And so as of right now, the virus is up to a 7% death rate, which is almost double from what it was last week at 3.4%. And I got all these stats in case anybody wants to fact check it. Of course, they may be a little skewed from what we're talking about it. From Worldometers, I think is that how you say it there, Mark?
I think so. Yeah,
I know you're looking at my notes. So
Yeah.
worldometers.info/coronavirus blah, blah.
Backslash.
Yeah.
And actually, I just
Anyways.
checked. So I clicked on that link to see if they had an update. And in the last
Right.
11 hours, there's been almost 7,300 more cases and 500 more. Oh, no, sorry, 300 more deaths.
Yeah.
So in the
yeah,
last 11 hours alone, it's even gone up.
Right, which is why I put the date and the time in when I check these stats, because I mean it's so rampant right now, that their stats are changing hourly. So
Yeah, I'm looking at this. This is kind of interesting. I'm looking at the timeline right here. So January 22nd, there were no cases, and today, with it being March 14th, now we're well over the 150,000 cases, and it's not
right,
in one area. I mean, it's like all over. Whether China,
yeah,
Italy, I mean, it's all over the U.S. It's all over Europe.
right, and I've heard a lot of statements of, well, this is only happening in the third world countries that have poor healthcare systems. That is not
No,
necessarily true.
I mean, Switzerland's right below us,
Right.
and
Well,
France
and
is ahead of us.
South Korea has a higher death rate than we do right now, and they have the second best health care in the world.
And it's
In
they
the
have
world.
3 times more cases than we do.
Right. Right. And I mean, they got the way better. We're number 30 on the list of best healthcare systems. They're number 2. So
And so,
that's
so,
quite
so
a bit of a
needless to say,
difference.
it's one of those things where it has flu-like or influenza B type symptoms. However, it
Right.
still is different. Like it is a different beast. And I read a lot of reports and cases where we got to manage this. I mean, it's gonna die out eventually. Like the
Well,
virus will go away, but the problem is we got to slow that curve down to make sure
right.
we don't want that, because if elderly get it, those are the ones most likely to
Well,
not make it through.
them and people in poor health condition, they got lung issues, cancer, those types of things. It's not just the elderly. I mean, the first people over in, I believe, I'm trying to remember, I think it was my dad that told me this, and I'm not quite sure where he got the information from, but he said that the um, first set of people that died from this were actually in their 30s. They were doctors in their 30s.
Oh wow, yeah,
So,
yeah. One of the guys who discovered it, he died from it.
right. Yeah. So if anybody was curious about the rankings, Mark, I know I didn't put this in the show notes, so I'll just mention it now. But if you want to see where the rankings of healthcare is at for each country, it's at www.number.com/health-care/rankings by country.
And we'll
So
put it in the
that's
show
where,
notes. Don't you worry.
yeah. So that's in our small group thread. That's the thing I sent last night. But yeah.
Yep. So I guess here's the
So
question then, coming out of this. I mean, we see stats like this, but what is
right.
the true source of this fear, do you think, in your opinion?
That's a good question. I think the source of the fear uh, is probably mankind uh, being afraid of dying,
Mm.
realizing that life could be short. We never know anything, and just being scared and fearful of what's to come.
Yeah, like fear of the unknown.
Yeah, something like that, and that in a blink of an eye, we could not be here or anything.
Yeah, it kind of shows us how
So
fragile we are as humans,
yeah, definitely,
and
definitely.
how weak it is, and we can't control anything, and literally life could disappear just like that. And in the day of modern medicine, that's not normal. Like that's not okay.
Right,
Whereas, way back in the day, the Black Plague went around, and that
right.
was there was nothing they could do. It was just ransacking cities after countries and just wiping things out, and they didn't know how
hmm
to clean it, nor did they have the means and the methods or the knowledge to even slow this down. And in today's culture, I feel like we're almost so um we feel like we're so invincible, I guess. Is that the right thing to say? Where
Yeah,
it's like we can't be
I
touched
would
by this,
say that even as a culture here in America, I think that um, there's not a whole lot of thought on death because everything's going so well, and just
Yeah, we're
nobody really
overcomers,
thinks
bro.
about it.
We're
Right.
overcomers, yeah.
So when it happens, something like this happens, everybody goes into a panic, and I think that's why it's being talked about so much. Which is one of the reasons why we decided to do this bonus episode, was because there is so much panic and fear coming from from this virus, the COVID-19. And so we were like, Mark, that you and I were talking the past few days, and we're like, dude, we gotta do an episode on this for our listeners to try to show them not to panic, not to have
Yeah,
fear.
and
So
let's just
give them good
yeah,
information.
give them good
So
information, but also just to put this out there too. We aren't experts. I mean, there's so many voices talking about this. I mean, you're getting emails from Best Buy, Panda Express, your bank, your mortgage company, your
Dude, I got one from Harbor Freight.
Right. Like, really? Like, I don't need to know all this type of stuff. But so we're one of thousands of voices, millions of voices that are entering this space. But I think this is a beautiful time for the church to step up and be the church, Like this is ample opportunity.
I think as Christians, it's good for us to be informed so that we can better, like you said, better impact our community. But we also need to be able to protect our family and our community with this information. So it's not, you have to be careful not to let the fear overtake you. Fear is not always a bad thing. If I'm afraid to touch a hot stove, there's a reason why. It's not because it's bad. It's because it's experience. I know.
And it's a very good reason. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, but sometimes fear, we let as humans fear overtake us, which is, in my opinion, I don't want to sound like Joyce Meyer here, but it's the devil's fault. He's in our ear saying, "Oh, look at how bad this is. Oh, it's getting worse." And with people with anxiety and stuff like that already, it starts driving up that fear. Now, likewise, I think a little fear is okay of not being so nonchalant about this whole thing that you're just like, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing, and who cares? It's not going to affect me. I'm healthy. That's some ignorance that I think that there's two extremes to this thing, and we need to find the middle road.
So I guess here's the question then, as Christians, we hear all the time, oh, all I got to do is wash your hands, when you cough, dab on your cough, all these various different things. But I think
Did you just say dab on your cough? I'm sorry.
Have you not heard that? Have you not seen those memes?
No.
When you need to cough, you dab on it. And you cough into your elbow. That's how they teach. Well, so I posted a video to our RTC Facebook page where it's a minute and a half where it teaches you how to wash your hands, and it is absolutely hilarious. It's definitely for youth pastors by youth pastors.
Right.
But I think it'd be kind of interesting. I have a quick little list here, if you don't mind me going through it. Where
go ahead.
The Christian's duty to the world in general. And I think when we understand what our role is as Christians, not just what our role is as humans with washing our hands, but I'm talking big picture, upper story conversation. What is the Christian's duty to the world in general? And I have 4 quick things written down, and I got a whole lot of scripture to back this up because, I mean, that's where we got to go.
Right.
But,
exactly.
so the first thing that popped into my mind when I was thinking about this morning was, what's the greatest thing a Christian needs to do? And it's an easy answer. We're supposed to love God and then love our neighbor as ourselves. I mean, Jesus says these are the greatest commandments, and all the laws and all the prophets, basically Moses and Elijah can be shoved into a little box that says love God and love others.
Right.
And we see that in Matthew 22, 36 through 40. And what's cool is out of that, all things stem out of it. So, like, what does it mean to love your neighbor as yourself? The easy one is to put other people ahead of yourself and serve them.
Right.
No questions asked, we're called to serve. We see that in Philippians 2, where Jesus humbled himself and said, we're supposed to have the same mindset as Jesus did. Galatians 5:13 says, for you are called to freedom, brothers, only don't use this freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but rather to serve one another through love. And then you see John 13, 1 through 17, the episode where Jesus is washing the disciples' feet. And basically Jesus says, take the lowliest, dirtiest job that isn't like you feel like you're so far above. Because in that culture, foot washing, it was such a low menial task. Even a Jewish slave could not wash the feet of another Jew. It had to be a slave from the outside because this was considered the worst job imaginable. But Jesus washed the disciples' feet, and he said, hey, in this way, you do unto others as well. And so right off the bat, we see Jesus telling us how you love God and love others is you humble yourself and serve.
Right.
And that's just a no questions asked. Like, there's no stutter on that one. And then come out of that too, it's kind of goes into the fear and panic area as well. But we're also supposed to show people that we don't need to fear this world. if 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and sound judgment." And I actually saw, I know I'm talking a lot here right now, but I saw a video of a little girl who she had an autistic little brother, and he was getting really nervous about all these all the coronavirus things and the scares and the
Right.
sickness. And just because of the autism that he deals with, he couldn't process this. So this little girl taught her little brother this verse, and that's what calmed him down and got him through a couple days, which was cool. And you also see in Proverbs 24:10 where it says, "If you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small." Because as Christians, we've overcome the world. Like a lot of people like to do that overcomers type mindset. But we've overcome the world because Jesus has overcome the world. But then when you look even big picture, yeah, we're supposed to serve others, supposed to show people any fear of the world. But why? In 1 Peter 2:9-12 says that we're supposed to proclaim the glory of God because our identity in God changes how we live, and it shows the world both who we are as Christians and whose we are in terms of God's got us because we're his sons and his daughters. So right off the bat, before we even talk about coronavirus or national health disasters, pandemics, fears, all these different things, this is just what a Christian's supposed to do in general,
Right, exactly.
What are your thoughts on that, man? Did I miss anything, or would you like to add anything?
Oh, you know me, I'll always add.
Let go.
All right. We've been talking about this coronavirus thing, and I want to kind of go back and more into the fear aspect a little bit.
Yeah.
We were talking about how fear could be healthy, but panic can be more harmful than helpful, right? So we see all these
definitely, yeah.
people like clearing out the stores and taking all the toilet paper and hand sanitizer. That
Yep.
can be more harmful, as we talked about in some of those memes. That all right, well, that's not going to help you much when everybody else can't buy stuff, so you're going to get it anyways. So, I mean, what are we supposed to do in these times as Christians? And I think the first thing is, as Christians, we should be a light in these dark times. I always think about my life verse. You remember my life verse?
I sure do.
Matthew 5:16. Let your light so shine before men that they can see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. And I think that's something that's very important to do as Christians during this time. It's a dark time. This is probably the darkest time most of us have ever been in. And we need to really to help others, to serve others, like you were saying, Mark, and to show others the love of Christ and preach the gospel. I think there's some pretty important things as Christians that we can do to show the glory of God in these dark times. The next thing we should do is remember that God is in control. And I got a couple scriptures here. I'm pulling them up now. The first one is Philippians 4:6-7. And it says, this is, by the way, it's King James, so just bear with me here.
King Jimmy.
It says, "Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understandings, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus." And so I think that first scripture talks about why should we really worry? We can pray to God with thanksgiving and let our requests be known to God, and He will give us that peace. He will calm those fears in our hearts, so that way we don't continue to have fear. The next one I wanted to read comes from Psalms 94, and this is this one is, I'm trying to remember if it was David or not, but I'm not 100% sure. But
It's
Psalms
always
94.
it's always a good bet. Just go David.
Yeah, we'll just say David.
Let's
I should
say
have just
David.
said it in confidence.
So Psalm 24.
It's him or the sons of Korah, so
One of the two.
But Psalms 94, 18 and 19 says, "When I said, my foot slippeth, thy mercy, O Lord, help me up. In the multitudes of my thoughts within me, thy comforts delight my soul." And it's a prayer to God, talking about how through God, he takes care of us. I mean, even when we slip and do stuff, he comforts our souls. And then the last scripture I want to mention here, and let me pull it up, is Luke 12:22-26, and it says, "And he said unto his disciples, Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat, neither for the body what ye shall put on. The life is more than meat, and the body is more than raiment, which is clothes. Consider the ravens, or the birds, if you're reading like NIV, for they neither sow nor reap, which neither have storehouses nor barn, and God feedeth them. How much more are ye better than the fowls?
Hmm.
And then, and which of you, with taking thought, can add to his stature 1 cubit? If ye then be not able to do the thing which is least, why take ye thought for the rest? And then it continues to go on as consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothed the grass, which is today in the field, and tomorrow cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And then it continues on. I would recommend anybody read Luke 12. It's a good passage of scripture, but it talks about how God takes care of us, of his people. And, if he's taking care of the flowers in the fields or the birds in the air, he'll take care of us too. So we need to cast out that fear, that unhealthy fear,
Yeah,
and
I
continue
think
to
you hit it right there.
proclaim
Is
his name.
get rid of the unhealthy fear.
Right.
Because I think
So,
there's a realistic fear we can have towards this with not wanting to with serving other people. We don't want to infect others. I think that's a good
right.
healthy fear, like you said about touching the stove.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, my next question, which is kind of rhetorical because I'm going to go into 4 points, is what can we as Christians do in this time of panic? And the first point is pray. We pray for God's protection and his guidance for his people. And as we continue to pray for his guidance and his protection, we should be able to then feel at peace. The next thing we need to do is, I would say, opportunity. A time and a place to be pray for a time and a place to be able to share the light of the world and the great healer to those who don't know him. Like that's a big thing. We've been talking about it at the beginning of this year in our Each One Reach One about how we need to pray for opportunity. This is a great time to do that, to pray for that opportunity to be able to reach those who are lost
Yeah, because people
and
are
show
looking for
them that.
hope.
Right, exactly. The third thing is caring for those in need. We are called to take care of the poor, the sick, the widowed, the orphans, and anybody else who is in need, that we can help, that we may show them the love of God. And I point back to Matthew 5:16 with that about doing good things so they glorify your Father which is in heaven. It's not to have people look at us; it's to have people look at God. Whether that's sharing your toilet paper or your hand sanitizer, or just being an ear to listen and to talk with somebody who is fearful right now. And the point number 4 is stay calm. We have nothing to fear because our holy God sits on the throne. He is in control, and his will shall be done. Whether his will is to take us from this world because we he knows when we're all going to die. And if it's our time to go, there's nothing we can do to stop. There's no amount of hand washing or sanitizer or mask that's going to stop that. And if it's not, if he still has work for us to do here on this earth, we're going to continue on in doing the work of the Lord. So those are my 4 quick points as Christians, what we can do in this time of panic.
I like it, man. I like it a lot. And at the end of the day, I mean, we gotta do take care of our families. You gotta be smart.
Right.
Can't be dumb. Wash your hands, dab on that cough, wear a
Yeah.
mask
I mean,
if you're,
I mean,
dealing with elderly. But at the end of the day,
right.
as Christians, we don't need to fear the unknown.
Right. Exactly.
Like, with Elsa, we can go into the unknown knowing that God already knows the past and the future and the beginning and the end. He knows what's going on. And I
Yeah.
think this also shows that, our world is broken and creation's groaning out for Jesus to come back and make all things
Definitely.
new. And I think this just proves it.
Definitely. And we can just let it go, right? As
Let
Elsa
it
would say,
go.
let it go and let God is that Christian phrase that I actually
Yeah,
kind
let
of
go,
enjoy.
let God, and wash your hands.
Well, yeah. So I mean, a couple little things about this. We've talked about worry, we've talked about fear, we've talked about panic. We touched on this coronavirus, but this actually what we've been talking about applies to all aspects of life
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
fear and panic in our lives and in others' lives.
Because
specifically,
go ahead.
specifically talking to the COVID-19 virus. Most viruses die out when the weather gets warm and the humidity shoots up throughout the country. So we have that to look forward to as
Hopefully,
we
yeah.
are reaching spring. A couple quick things to just remember as listeners: clean your hands often using soap, water, or alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
Yep.
Avoid people who are sick, coughing or sneezing. That's how
Mhm.
germs spread within 6 to 10 feet of each other. Clean and disinfect high-touch surfaces daily in household common areas, tables, hardback chairs, doorknobs, light switches, remotes, handles, desks, toilets, sinks. Be clean.
Be
These are
clean.
some pretty obvious things. And then just launder items. Make sure you're washing your clothes after you get out in public. If your kids or whatever, if you have kids, take toys, stuffed animals or stuff. Wash the stuffed animals, wipe down the toys. Just do a little bit extra cleaning. I know nobody likes it.
There's a quote out there that says, "Everything you need to know for life, you learned in kindergarten." And,
there you go.
And this is pretty much it, man. Just be clean.
Yep.
Cleanliness is the best way to kill it. So
right, and back to the fear thing. I think we all just need to. I've got a quote here from Charles Spurgeon.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I didn't even find it myself. Paul Lindgren found it.
Good old Paul.
But it's by Charles Spurgeon. He says, "Fear to die? Thank God I do not. The cholera may come again next summer. Pray it may not. But if it does, it matters not to me. I will toil and visit the sick by night and by day. And if it takes me, sudden death is sudden glory." So if you're saved, it just means you're going to be with Jesus. What do we have to fear?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most of us are like, yeah, I can't wait to meet Jesus. And then something like this happens. They're like, I'm scared to death. I'm not going out. I'm getting in a bubble. And nobody come around me. There's just such fear that overtakes. And now I'm not saying to be careless and be carefree about it. Be careful like we've talked about. But also don't let that fear overtake you to the point where you're not going out and being the hands and feet of Jesus.
Exactly. And, through Jesus, fear, death, anxiety, worries, stress, taxes, all these terrifying things. I mean, but they don't have any hold on us, because
right.
Jesus
exactly.
already defeated it. So, winding down the conversation here, as Christians, it's an opportunity. Are we going to take this opportunity, or are we going to let it, and not just let it pass by, because that's not the right mindset to have, but more the fact of we have the opportunity to speak life into people's lives, and are we taking it when we see it?
Right.
So that's all I got, man. That's my closing thought.
Hey, man, that closing thought is very good. Mine's going to be real short. It's just going to be, this world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. That's all I got.
Wow. I haven't heard that in a long...
It just came to me.
Old Town Revival just went down on RTC.
You know it.
Awesome. Well, hey, dude, so since today's a bonus episode, I got to ask you. Are we still having a fun fact with Fuller?
Dude, I have a fun fact.
Let
go. In this time of panic, let's just have a fun fact for the day.
We need it. We need it.
Yeah, we need it. We need a little funness with Fuller in our lives.
Yes, we do.
All right, so today's fun fact with Fuller. Did you know, Mark, kids ask 300 questions a day?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that?
Actually, well, it seems like it.
Yeah. So a 2013 UK study from online retailer littlewoods.com observed young children and recorded the questions they asked the adults around them. The children tended to turn to their mothers for answers, and these moms could end up answering an average of nearly 300 questions per day, or one question every 2.5 minutes, the study found. The moms reported that the hardest questions they were asked included, why is water wet? And what are shadows made of?
And is hot dog a sandwich? That's the question I love to ask, man.
Is pizza supposed to be cold or hot?
Is pizza... Well, it depends. Are we talking about dinner? Or are we talking about breakfast?
Breakfast. You know it,
man.
Man.
What are we talking about here? Like, breakfast pizza has to be cold. Like,
Oh, of course.
no questions asked at all.
Exactly.
Man. I love
agree.
it. Well, dude, today has been real. It's been fun. I just checked Google, Spotify, Apple. Apple's the only one you can leave reviews on, but we have no new reviews to read, bro.
What's going on? We're putting out a bonus episode, people. Let's go. We need some reviews.
We want to hear the reviews.
We don't want any repeats, Jagger. Mama Yates, you're okay, but Jagger, no repeats.
Mama Yates, you got to reach out to us, though. Real Talk Christian Podcast at gmail.com. Reach out to us so we can send you your free stuff. If you leave us a review, we're going to send you something cool. We're going to send you a little mini swag bag.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
The RTC mini swag.
I love it. Well, hey, we will be back this Thursday with our normal episode, but we hope you enjoyed the bonus edition of Real Talk Christian.
Take it easy.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Real Talk Christian. To help get our podcast into the ears of other people who need to hear these conversations, we would love for you to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. To keep the conversations going, feel free to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and share our content with others. See you next time.